I never prepare what I say, so it just comes when it comes. And one thing I want to share with you all that I've never shared before is something about the microcosm that every person is of the entire world. Because, I mean, clearly, if you know some Kabbalah, you know that Adam Kadmon is the name of a world that precedes a world that is itself inarticulable, which is the world of Atzilus. Before that is something called Adam Kadmon. And you probably never in your life heard anyone even articulate anything about a world called Atzilus, which in the Balatanya's words is it's synonymous with Hashem's oneness, even though Hashem's at least 2 steps, which are myriads of stages above that. Meaning, because if you're at Atzilus, then there's all of Atzilus, and then there's all of Adam Kadmon, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is creating all of that, so he's way beyond that. But nevertheless, the word primordial man seems to be the shape that the Orient Sof is coming through. And each one of us is a microcosm of that. And so what I found was this amazing thing, and as I was saying Nishmas, and I got to the words Al Kain Evarim Shepelagta Bana Veruach Neshama Shenafachta Ba'Peinu V'Loshana Shesamta B'Finu, which is basically my spirit, my tongue that you put in my mouth, the spirit you placed in my nostrils, Hein, all of them, Yoidu v'Yevarchu v'Yeshabachu v'Yeforu v'Yishoderu v'Oimamu v'Aritzu v'Akdishu v'Amlichu Eshimcha Malkeinu Toli, that they will all praise you, and with all those different types of praise, each one's its own reality. Tummy at all times. But if you think about it, that's the end of Hallel. That's the end of Hallel. When we say, when we finish the Ana Hashem Oshiana and Hoidu Lashem Kitov, then we say Yalucha Kol Maasecha Hasidecha Tzadikim Oiser Ritzanecha Chol Hamacha Beis Yisrael Berini Yoidu v'Yevarchu v'Yeshabachu v'Yeforu v'Yishoderu v'Oimamu v'Aritzu v'Akdishu v'Amlichu Eshimcha Malkeinu Toli. So it's like, didn't I just say that about my body parts? And you'll notice that so didn't I just Nishmas is a whole body event. Nishmas kol chai Devorah Shimcha, that the souls of all living will, and then it's the ruach kol basar, even flesh. Tisroimim, ruach kol basar tifar usroimim zichcha malkeinu tumid, meaning even like all flesh, fish, birds, animals, deer are going to be standing on their hind legs, like vibrating to the Or Ein Sof, Kodesh Baruch Hu. Min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam atakel. You know what that means? Min ha'olam is one side of the sandwich. V'ad ha'olam the other side of the sandwich, meaning all of history, from beginning of the world to the end of the world. Atakel, you're the salami. You're the pastrami. It's all you. All of my bones are going to scream out to are screaming out to Hashem, Micha Moicha, who is like you. And so, just like the Jewish people all praise Hashem with all of that, so too our whole body, when all of our body, it comes into alignment with everything we've got, from our bones to our knees, that when the whole koima lefanecha tishtach, all upright people will bow before you. This is the all of who I am, meaning all of who you are in every part of you, is Klal Yisrael. That's all Klal Yisrael. That's all Knesset Yisrael. You are the embodiment of that. And here we are in the joy of succos. The joy of succos is so fun, but it's also so deep at the same time. You could be dancing and singing and clapping, or you could be just being. I mean, how many commandments say Asher Kedushanim Mitzvosav Vitzivanu, and then it says to sit. Before you even get to the sukkah, Leishev, sit. It's a strange thing. Like, normally you get a commandment, you got to do. This is a sit, be, and that's simcha. So clearly, all those different types of simcha, gila, rina, ditza, v'chad, la'ava, those types of simcha are, each one has their nuance, but simcha's the deep stuff. Simcha's the deep stuff. Simcha's the stuff that people can even have sitting shiva. If someone has true simcha, it's not fair weathered. It doesn't matter if it's rain or shine. It's simcha's very deep, and all of us know that because the people we know with simcha, like people who truly have simcha, don't have loud motorcycles. People who have true simcha, you just know them, and it wouldn't matter so much when you'll run into them. They're going to be emitting it toward you. It's the nature of simcha, no matter what they're going through. And so, apparently these sevens that the Erez all so embellished, that we all live as if the sevens were from Chazal. And they certainly were regarding the tree of life. That's for sure. Avram Avinu and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and everything. But all these sevens we keep doing, connecting them to the seven shepherds, and we thank the Erez all for all that. This is a bit of the new kid on the block. But the Erez was far from a new kid. He was a very old soul, and he connected all of us to how to live in the spheres. And my wife was saying this week that the word ushpizen is originally Talmudically supposed to mean host, and got shifted somehow to guest. But there's certainly, I definitely feel more hosted than hosting when it comes to ushpizen. If one of the ushpizen walked in here right now and there was a main chair that Jerry sat on, that was this beautiful leather chair and, with big armrests and his goblet, how fast would Jerry get up and sit him down right there? Because we're clearly his guests. And it's true that when a Gadol B'Torah walks into somewhere, like the Balabais just, this is your seat. This is your seat. I know it's my house, but it's yours now because you're the ushpiz. And each day's had its energy, and each day we invite them and we ask, please may my sukkah be a fitting place for them. They shouldn't have to run out of here for some reason. They should be so excited to be with us, as excited as we are to be with them. And now we're finally at David HaMelech. And so I'll just share just a minute on that, is that unlike the other shepherds, David HaMelech is really on the earth. Think about how mystical your thoughts are about Avram Avinu. It's like, okay, yeah, he walked the earth, but there's a mystical creature. Yitzchak Avinu, same, even more mystical in a way, because everything shifts after Akedah. There's actually people who hold that he did check it. And after that, it's a totally different Yitzchak, who was like, maybe Hashem was Machaya him or whatever. And there's even people, you can hear, it's crazy, like crazy Torahs from people about him actually being shechted, and then they can point out all the how different he is right after the Akedah from then on. Anyway, but it goes on to Yaakov, Moshe, super mystical, Arna Cohen, whoa, Yosef at Tzaddik. And then all of a sudden we're like, David. It's like, bam, you know, with all of his trials and tribulations, a king dealing with Palestinians, and you know, like just on the run, chased by his own son. You know, it's just a totally different story. It's amazing he even got put in with these characters. Like, how did David get in the mix with the other 6 shepherds? And they're all Nevi'im. David HaMelech's Ruach HaKodesh, as the Rebbetzin said. You know, he's not necessarily getting Nevuah, but boy, Ruach HaKodesh coming through him. Mizmor Shir came from Adam HaRishon. Tefillah LaMoshe, songs of Moshe Rabbeinu coming through. The Bnei Korach are coming through David HaMelech. So he's beyond. He's not a Navi. And he's living in this world, and the binyan of David HaMelech is the fall with Bathsheba, which the Gemara describes in detail. And he spends the rest of his life doing tshuva. And there's a Maimer Chazal that says something, that anyone who says David sinned is mistaken. And meanwhile, the same Chazal tell us about the sin in its detail. And then, and David Melech's life, and Sefer Shmuel, and Tehillim is all about his tshuva. So what does Chazal mean that anyone who says he's sinned is mistaken? What it means is, if that's what you want to focus on, if that's what someone wants to focus on, that's a loser. You're mistaken. You're lost. David HaMelech paved the way for real people who fell to get up. And from what we know about David HaMelech, you know, there hasn't been a tzaddik in the last 3,000 years like him. So I would venture to say that it was a setup. Kind of like Adam and Chava in the garden was a bit of a setup. Like, think about it. If they didn't sin, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. It must have been a setup. And in all the years I taught, and I taught a lot of shiurs on free will, if anyone raised their hand and asked, well, what about? I would say you can't learn from the Garden of Eden about free will. Because that whole thing had to happen for the creation to actually give birth to our world today, till Mashiach. And so too, the path of tshuva had to be carved by David HaMelech so that we could be here. So it says in the Tiferes Shlomo, as it was brought down by our Rebbe, who carved us to Karlin 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, in his Sefer the Archas Aron, and he quotes the Tiferes Shlomo saying that the word teishvu, like sit, dwell in succos, shivas yomin, teishvu. He says the tshuva you can get on the 7th day, the tshuva you can get in these 7 days. When it says shivas yomin, it's shivas yomin bereishit. You can go back to before the chet, before the sin, bottom of Rishon. We had Rosh Hashanah where we got our hearts and minds aligned. We had our Yom Kippur, which washed us clean. And then we moved immediately into this world, which is a very different world. When someone's as clean as we were when we finished Ne'ilah, the end of Yom Kippur, when you're that clean, you don't put someone out on the streets. You put them in a nursery. And this is the nursery. 7 days in the nursery. And you said, Hashem hu Elokim. Tonight's the 7th time you said it. The 7 times Hashem hu Elokim. It's going to each day. That was Hanan there. just going to each day. And we're now on that 7th one, we said. And I don't know what you guys did, but I was like, on the 7th one, I spontaneously combusted for the last Hashem Hu Elokim. So you belong in a nursery. You shouldn't be out in the world. Like, why should you? Why suffer? You're brand new. Live 7 days clean to lock in the 7 days of this year. It was very cool. It came out on Shabbos because like we're gonna go around nicely throughout the year. The beauty of Sukkot that lands on Shabbos is you have a whole week of Chol Hamoed. And I thought I was going to make it. You could hear in my voice that I didn't make it. I finally crashed yesterday. I'm feeling a little better now. Why is this the nursery? I'll just finish with that. Why this is the nursery. The reason this is the nursery is when you say Hashem Elokim, what are you really saying? You're saying Hashem, that which surrounds space and time, Hu HaElokim, that's what fills space and time. Meaning that he's not just the tortilla, he's the rice and beans. Okay? He's not just surrounding, that's Shem Havaya, Haya Hoi Veyeh, surrounding creation. He also fills creation. He's Memale Kol, fills all the world. Oh, yeah, I knew what it was. She was. I think it's the first time you ever did that.
See, chef.
She reminded me where I was holding about the nursery.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. So, if I'm really going to need that, that means you're going to have to start touring with me.
Great.
Anyway, the Hashem Hu HaElokim means that you've never been outside your whole life. You've never spent a minute outside your whole life. If you were walking down the Ramat Eshkol Boulevard or down Jaffa Street or you're in some park like Gan Sacher where we live in Nachlaot, are you indoors or outdoors? Answer? Don't answer too quick. You're indoors. Hashem didn't create anything outside of himself. If Hashem could create something outside of himself, it means he ended and we began. If there's something outside of Hashem, then he's no longer infinite. The word infinite means unlimited by space and time. Well, if God created the world separate than himself, meaning he stops here and we begin there, that means he's no longer infinite. It means he has an edge and we get our beginning. No, Hashem Hu Elokim. He is all of this. This is his Elokus. That's all there is. Now, if Goyim happened to walk into Jerry's yard back there and saw all of us, and they're on the phone, yeah, I guess we're in the wrong house, but we see a bunch of people sitting outside. Are we outside right now? We're inside. What are we inside? We're inside the sukkah. We have 7 days that we got to be inside something that every goy would tell you you're outside. And so with the rain, and so with the wind, and so with the cold, and so with the heat. Meaning, everything will tell you are not inside, but you got to make your brachas in here, and you got to sleep, and you got to this, and you got to do everything in the sukkah. So you got to be inside the sukkah. In my sukkah, sometimes it spits people out, because remember, it's the Anani Akova. And sometimes people get spit out of my sukkah. Have you guys noticed at your sukkah parties that you'll find people hanging out right outside? They'll be hanging out right outside the door of the sukkah. They're just kind of hanging over there, schmoozing. I'm not sure if they really went to hang out outside or they actually got removed by the sukkah. And I'll go out there, I'll talk to them from the edge of the sukkah. I'm literally at the door of my sukkah, and I'm talking to them. I'm like, listen, I'm just schmoozing with them. And I'm like, listen, I'd love to keep this conversation going, but you're I don't know, I would think maybe 1.25 meters away from a mitzvah deraisa. let's just keep having this conversation on this side of my door. And then you're under the sukkah. And they'll be like, yeah, you're right. Hey, let's do that. And then they'd come inside the sukkah, get them sat down again, back into the Anania Kavod. The only kosher sukkah is if you have pasoilus over you. You have to have like nothing. But you have to have this, you have to have schach. And the oilamos that Hashem created the world with, that he hides his light so that we can finally have the image of creation in physicality, is made of this stuff. This is the remez of the oilamos that the light's filtering through. We have to be in a permeable experience, just like the oilamos are a permeable reality that create our 3D experience of life down here, seemingly outside of Hashem, or seemingly outdoors or indoors or wherever. So let's all close our eyes a moment and take in a deep breath. And release that breath. Taking in a deep breath. Hold your breath, eyes closed. Release. Again, taking a deep breath. Hold your breath. And release. You are surrounded by the divine presence. To your right, to your left. In front of you, behind you, under you, above you, within. Taking a breath of Hashem's presence that you feel inside your whole being. Lock in this as simcha. Lock this in as simcha, deep simcha. Clean and pure and true. And we don't know what this year will bring us. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, make sure that you begin with an intensive reckoning for 40 days. And then a quick passage of the 4 days to prepare for this holiday, so that you can get right into this holy space. Hashem Hu HaElokim. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, whisper the words Hashem Hu HaElokim. Inhale, Bashamayim Mimal. Inhale, Ve'al Ha'aretz Mitachas. Inhale, Ein Od. Continuing to breathe and noticing and realizing the truth is that no matter what happens our year, our biggest battle will be our midos. Meaning, of course, all of us want blessing this year. We want to dance at simchas. We want to hear good news. But all of us know our biggest avoda, our biggest battle, will be our own midos, especially when we get disappointed. So taking one more deep breath. And as a kli, a vessel of Hashem, As you exhale, whisper the words to Hashem, I'm yours. Which means whatever becomes, you'll breathe through it. Rain or shine. Einod milvada. Efes zulase. Keep breathing with your eyes closed. I will break out the guitar one more time just to culminate this meditation. Stay in your meditation. Uferoi zalei suka shelomecha uferoi aleinu Try the words. Uferoi zalei suka shelomecha uferoi aleinu Try that. Hey, Shlomo